Hi Sunette, thank you for doing this video for the Destiny Farm. Now this is Sunette's introduction video, so let's start at the beginning. When did you first come to the Destiny Farm?
Well, for me, when you say Destiny Farm, what comes up is when my whole process started, and that was essentially when meeting Bernard and the people who had already been walking a destiny process with him in the principles of what we still hold to today. So, not only that, but with with meeting all the people, um, that's when the farm already was in existence, I'd say, because I'd never been exposed to living with many people, and already from the get-go, we were quite a big group of people, and throughout the years, people have come and gone, but it was for me already then. Destiny Farm, even though we weren't on a farm in itself, the very experience of and being exposed to a group of people living together was from the get-go quite something, and we still hold to that today.
Okay, cool. And what has made you decide to stay all these years?
Ooh, I think I'd rather change the question to, it wasn't so much a decision as it was a point of this is it. Um, it was like I met myself, and I constantly meet myself through the greatest challenges and also the greatest times. Um, it's like you cannot go to anything less than you always being challenged by something or someone, whether it be yourself or others. And it's like every day still throughout the years is always a wrestling, a form of conflict, a friction, a change process, a breakthrough process is busy happening in me. And I felt that from the beginning of being with, living with, working with a group of people who walk the same principle. Um, so that for me was coming from myself, who was very lonesome, shy, insecure, unsociable, to learning so much more about myself through being exposed to more people. You kind of start opening up your eyes to realizing there is so much more to me. Yes, you sometimes have to go through some not so good experiences to realize all of that, but at the end it's worth it. And yeah, as I said, you just can't go back. Don't want to be limited like you were before again.
So, what form part of your responsibilities here on the farm?
Yeah, it's interesting because what comes up first for me is myself, and that's not always been 100%. I tend to go through stages, phases, and periods of, struggling with things inside myself as I'm also busy figuring out my own mind, myself, my relationship with me, and everyone around me. And that's a never ending, ongoing process. So, sometimes there's like a balance that in a way happens where as much as I have time to give responsibility to me, I also in that share my responsibilities in the gifts and skills that I do have. It's like a reciprocal relationship, interestingly enough, where I wouldn't be able to portal as good as I do, or communicate and see and show and illustrate if it weren't for me having the time to go through things that I needed to go through inside myself in my process, and people in my life giving me the time and space to be able to do that. So that's also always been a very important thing for me to remember, is that I'm not always 100% gonna, we sometimes tend to want to think that we're responsible and only responsible. And I was even in that state for a while where, I more had responsibilities on my shoulder and I did not take responsibility for myself. And that created quite a problematic relationship with me and with everyone around me. Until when I started changing it and finding that balance of remembering me as much as my responsibility toward others through portaling, which is what I do with the farm and with everyone else in my life beyond the farm. That if it wasn't for that balance, that dimension of responsibility wouldn't have been as clear as it is today.
Cool, thanks for sharing that. Now, what would you say is the most challenging part of living with so many people, being in your space all the time?
Myself, really. A part of me wants to, like a thought comes up, is wanting to say people. And yes, having everyone with you in a way that you sometimes go through things and you want to have the time to go through it, and you want to have the space to go through it, and you want to go through the whole breakdown process. Sometimes that does happen, but other times not necessary. And when it's not necessary, but even you really want to, you've got people coming to you saying, come, get out of this right now, move, you're stronger, you're better. But in the end, it's always been myself, really. I've only ever made it more easier or difficult for me when I go back to looking at some periods and times where you go through conflict and blame and projection and all of those types of things. And it still happens every now and then in ways that you can't always expect. That's always what happens here, which at the same time makes it feel so, for lack of a better word, safe. That you're going to go through shit. But you always will draw a line, either yourself or those who are supporting you, to keep you on that right path, to not veer off way too far and become way too lost within your mind. But at the same time, you won't. That's also what's so cool. You'll allow even yourself, others will allow you to go what you need to go through, because there is that trust that we will find our way back or understand it. And that it is not only walked for us, but for everyone else as well. So whatever we go through always gets shared, understood, recorded, videoed in some way or another. It's like we're a live and living experiment, and assisting and supporting one another to do just that.
And what do you love the most about being here?
Having the freedom, the support, that comfortability. It's like you in a way feel like a child in life, and this farm feels like a parent figure, a guardian, just holding you, just saying, look, whatever you go through, I'm here. Yes, you're going to go through your ups and downs. You better strive for your best, because that's what we're all agreeing on. But at the same time, when you fall, be here by your side. When you sometimes need some waking up, I'll be there to do that. Get some fire under your ass when you need to. That to me, deep within myself, has always been what I've been grateful for the most. I would not be who I am today if it wasn't for that deep relationship that is existent within each and every single one of us here.
Cool, thanks so much for sharing, and we shall see you in future Destiny Farm videos.
Yes. Bye everyone.